Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Dear White People Season 2, Episode 1. Oh, I'm sorry, Connor. It's Dear White People Volume 2, alright? I said Volume 2 now. Are you happy?
I'm happier. I'm never really happy, am I?
He gave me a whole speech beforehand. Now remember, it's Volume 2, it's not Season 2, it's Volume 2.
Look, you made a whole point during Stranger Things to not say Season 2. You called it Stranger Things 2. So I'm just saying here, you should, respect this and say it's Volume 2.
Alright, fine, it's Volume 2. Episode 1, Chapter 1. Easy to remember the names of the episodes at least, so I can appreciate that.
Yeah, now all you've got to do now is focus on remembering volume.
Yeah, it's very good. And to be fair, with Stranger Things, I messed it up a lot for the first half of the season.
You did.
Right?
You
So it took me a while to get into the groove of doing that, so I might do a similar thing here. So we pick up not too long after the events of Season 1. It's about a month, I think they said, since Troy smashed the window.
A month, but, the full, year in terms of references.
Yes.
Because, they're making references to stuff. I'm like, you were not making references like this to last year.
That is true, but at least the reference, and full spoilers, but I don't know if I said that, but full spoilers for the episode. I don't know if I said, so there's a reference in this to Get Out.
There is.
But here's the thing, Season 1 came out after Get Out came out as well.
It did, it just obviously wasn't written and produced.
Yes, they hadn't written it yet. So that's still well within the realm of referencing.
It is. The other one was 13 Reasons Why. I'm not sure if that one was out. Maybe just about, but it's kind of close.
That was out, I want to say that was a month or two after this season.
I thought that, but it's kind of close.
However, the book was out for a while before that.
I don't give a shit about that.
The character may be referencing the book.
They were not referencing the book. They were referencing the Netflix show, The Shills.
Well, you got to promote the other content. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Oh. By the way, we do a movie review show called 1.21 in the Flux if you want to check that out.
I'm sure you did a review of Get Out, didn't you?
On Screams After Midnight, yes.
Oh, there you go. Double whammy for you.
Not in Unflux. You butchered that. So we moved on a little bit. It does this neat little thing at first where we're at the table in the house, the AP house, and it says Sam and Reggie's there, and then the camera pulls back, and then just gradually there's more and more white people kind of like intermingling.
Just around, yeah.
Yeah, and it seems that the same time as the whole Troy incident from the season finale, there was a fire at another house. So now they're referring to it as like a refugee situation where everyone's doubling up in rooms because now half the building's filled with white people from this other house. Yeah. So, there's the whole thing. But the main theme of this episode, and I presume like a big chunk of this season, at least with Sam's story, is cyberbullying. That seems to be a big theme going into this. And actually, I saw a blurb from about the show from the careers. I may have been the actress who played Logan Browning, who plays Sam herself, who said this, but apparently this was somewhat inspired by the online backlash to Season 1, was the idea of tackling like internet abuse. And to be fair, when we get down to like the harassment she gets on their fake Twitter, honestly, my only complaint with this fake Twitter is how big the tweet is when it's on a laptop. There's like a point where she's looking at one tweet, she's clicked on it, and it's like full screen. This tweet,
I think really bothered me is there's the notification bell that's Twitter's bell.
Yes.
But there's a point where it's like, this person has followed you on all these services, and it's all coming through this one bell. I'm like, what's going on here?
It's in the Dear White People universe. All of the systems have all been integrated together, so you get notifications for all of them.
Sure. Rival companies love to do that, don't they?
Well, they're not rivals. Facebook bought this fake Twitter. And they bought Instagram, and they bought Tumblr.
Okay, fine, I'll allow it.
Because I'm sure there's a couple that are actually the same company now, right?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, there you go, see?
Yeah,
Perfect.
You just said them. I thought that's why you said that.
I didn't actually. I used that as an example. I didn't realise that actually happened. Alright, there you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Quite a while ago.
I am shocked I don't get notifications on Facebook then for Instagram. I am shocked.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
No, I think you can link them.
That makes sense. Or like when Amazon bought Comixology, and all of a sudden, all my Kindle comics are also showing up in my Comixology. It's beautiful.
That was nice and convenient, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very convenient. So, anyway, so the actual tweets that come up, they feel very true to, things you see online. It felt very true to the sort of stuff that was getting tweeted at the creators and Netflix when they announced their show. And the episode and this is something that did so well in season 1, and it seems to be continuing here, where it does so much with comedy until it hits you with the gut punch. And I think this episode really showed that, because it was Sam basically, she gets some advice from Joe about, I'm getting these shitty tweets, I'm kind of like not responding to them, I'm not even, she's not even talking on her show, she's kind of like just playing music, and people are commenting about it, and she gets some advice, you fight back, and speak up for yourself, and gets this advice. And she kind of takes it a little bit too much to heart, and she ends up being up all night with a Red Bull, just firing tweets back at this asshole.
Yeah, she's just, for like, it seems like 3 or 4 days, she is just in this argument.
And I'm sure it's not literal that she's just on the bed for 4 days, but it's implied that she's just constantly going back to it over this.
I don't know, it feels like it is, like, almost all there, because, you have the time-lapse montage, and I'm sure, I'm sure she goes and eats and goes to the toilet. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But... Like, she, at the very least, if it's the weekend, say, she's still going to the bathroom and going to eat and stuff like that.
But we know she's not going to shower. So she is literally, most of her time, she is just sat here on this.
Yes, she becomes obsessed. And, I mean, I'm someone who sometimes, like, I don't get into arguments online, but, like,
you've never had an argument online, have you?
I'm not saying I've never had an argument online. I've still never had one like this, where it's this heated with some asshole who's just awful. I've never had this.
You're boring.
I'm boring because I don't get abuse hurled at me by default. What?
Yeah, someone go hurl abuse at him, please. Just so,
Please don't. Please don't. I'm a gentle soul. But she's getting all this shit, and she rightly points out that, like, Troy's not getting this abuse. Everyone else isn't getting it. Everyone else who was involved, Lionel's not getting abuse. He's the one who gave the speech. Like, no one's getting abuse, but for some, she's the one picked out. Throw in some sexism with the racism. Why not? Like, that's probably got something to do with it. She's the one with the voice in the show. She's become the target. She's become the face of this on-campus movement, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth noting that even before the finale events went down last year, she was very much spearheading it. She was very much the public face in general, anyway.
But still, it's very notable that she's the only one being targeted.
Yeah.
And she's getting all this abuse, and it's, all this vile racist shit, and she's kind of just getting into the fight of it. She wants to fight back, like once she gets the advice and she's on that bed and she's like tweeting away. And it's kind of funny seeing her, like, forget to, shower, forget to go to class, and she rushes off, and more on that in a little bit. But she gets a call from her dad at one point in the middle of all this, who calls her by accident with FaceTime. He just meant to send a text.
That feels very realistic, doesn't it?
It really does. Old people are terrible with technology. I mean, sure, there's the gems. Look at me. There's the gems who they grew up with IBM. They're the pioneering generation. But for most people who are over the age of like 50, it can be a painful experience trying to explain technology to them.
It can.
Yeah. But she almost gets into a fight with her father. He's been very nice, and she's been very nice. But ultimately, he's like, you shouldn't give these trolls... I mean, he doesn't say that. He doesn't use that phrasing. He's too old to use the word trolls. But he's like, you shouldn't give these trolls attention. You shouldn't waste your time. There's no point.
Solid in advice. Don't feed the trolls.
Exactly. Because that was my first thing. As soon as she started responding, you're feeding the troll. Stop feeding the troll. But he's like, you shouldn't, don't make things difficult. It's like, did you just call me to make things? I meant to text you. I didn't mean to call you. I love how that was his defense. It wasn't. No.
That's not my intention. Just I didn't mean to do it in this medium.
And I'm sure he didn't mean to phrase it like that. That wasn't necessarily what he meant. It was just, you're making it like
in
a
difficult. Text. You can make sure it's all thought out nicely before
exactly.
he sends it.
He blurted it out, and it sounded a bit more awkward than it should have been.
Yeah.
And of course, you see her have this little flashback at one point. She's eating this like overly sugary breakfast. I don't even know what was going on there. It was like,
I have no idea what it was.
It was like sugar and like flavouring, and that was it.
Yeah.
God, I mean, I've got a sweet
incredibly
tooth.
Unhealthy.
Yeah, I've got a sweet tooth, but that looked like just instant death to me. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. I'm not one to judge on things being healthy or not, but Jesus, when you're sitting there with a bowl of sugar.
I like a little bit of milk and cereal with my sugar, please.
Yeah.
But it's because she's like remembering her childhood. It's something that her dad used to do with her, and she's kind of remembering her father like throughout. And she obviously we get the rest of her plot, and she's going back to the radio show, and it's the end of the episode, and she's going in, and obviously before she goes in, there's these. I don't even. I mean, they make a point out of saying that they're not white nationalists, but it's insane they have to point that out, and then go on to just flat out say everything that a white nationalist would say on the radio show.
Yeah.
It was bad. I was really expecting that the flat Earth thing to come up. I'll be honest. It felt like that was where it was going.
Are flat earthers and white nationalists the same group?
I think there's a Venn diagram.
You think there's some heavy overlap, do you?
I don't think there's heavy overlap, but I think if you're ignorant enough on all these issues, you're probably maybe stupid enough to think the Earth is flat.
That's fair. I can't argue with that logic.
I'm just saying.
I just didn't. I wasn't aware that there was a consensus that there was an overlap.
I think I'm just pioneering this thought right now. Quite frankly,
okay. I mean, we should do some surveys.
I'm not surveying white nationalists. Piss it off. Or flat earthers, for that matter.
I don't know which is worse.
Well, what was the? What?
I'm kidding.
Flat earthers are at least funny bad.
They are, aren't they?
Right? I mean,
that one who built his own rocket.
Do you know what's funny? Just a bit of sort of timeline wise here. I was doing the movie news. We're recording that later tonight. We do a movie news show, and we looked through trailers. And I didn't put this in because we don't do documentary trailers, but as I was browsing the new trailers for the last week or so, there was a documentary about flat earthers, and I'm curious. I want to watch this, and I watched the trailer, and it opens with this guy sitting there, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the first time I ever heard about this this flat earther thing, when I was in space," and it cuts to him, and he's like, he's on a space station. He's an astronaut, and I'm like. And he's hearing about. He's in a space station, hearing the Earth is flat, and he's looking out the window, going, "No,
guys,
I can see it."
So, speaking of documentaries.
Oh God, what?
Oh
yeah, no, that was nice. That was good.
Oh God, damn it!
I was still on the radio trio who were saying stupid things, very hurtful things. At one point, the woman says rape culture doesn't exist, and it's like, what? And gonna go.
I was just gonna say, I really hope IMDb updates its page soon, because I swear I know that woman from somewhere. I recognize a face. I don't know if it's just that's just what I assume a white nationalist woman's face is.
Maybe she's got that,
or if I've actually seen her in something.
But because that was the thing, like, because they're being very like, oh, SJW's this, SJW's that, and then she says that, and I'm like, you're the woman in the room. You're the first person who should be like against what you just said. And it's just this idea of they're all indoctrinated and ignorant, and just they've never encountered it, so. Yeah, oh God. So you're kind of with Sam and Joe as they're just watching this and just being like, probably want to just fly through the window and strangle them, because I know I felt like I wanted to. And they get out, and also, but just one other final thing, the woman just before they finish, as they're saying bye, she just randomly goes in. Oh, and by the way, there's only two genders, and then that's our outro.
That's the end of the show.
That's the end of the show. Is that statement? So they hit almost all the bullet points these assholes might hit. They hit them all in the space of a minute.
Almost like to a critique of the writing of the show, as like I don't know if it needed all of them in the 1 minute. But I think that's the joke.
I think that's the joke. I think it works because it almost became funny that it was this much of a cliche how bad they all were.
Yeah. I think that last one might have been maybe the one that was okay. Maybe you're going one too many now, just getting it in because you can.
But anyway, so Sam's got Joelle. She wants her to co-host and actually. So, oh yeah, you're right. I should just talk to someone rather than talking to myself. Okay, I'll get you on, and you can co. And she's like, well, I'd like some notice, but I'm charismatic as hell, so I like that. But she gets out, and just before the show starts, she looks at her phone, and she got a response from the abuser. I can't remember his name on Twitter. But by the way, the three from before were actually praising this dude.
They were saying, oh, I hope he. We do enough on this show that we normalize this, that you can show your face and not have to hide.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, and that's where it really goes. It becomes more personal because they're actually encouraging someone who's doing all these hateful things to Sam, a character we specifically care about. And,
something I would find interesting is, Sam thinks that it's just her that's getting all this abuse. I think it'd be really interesting, and she's kind of put herself into that, like, and made herself feel alone. It'd be really interesting if we see some of the guys have been getting it as well, but just, they've been getting it in messages, whatever. They're not. It's just not on their timeline.
Oh yeah, sure. Like maybe secretly, and they're kind of. I don't know. It depends. Yeah. We'll see what they do with the other characters, but
yeah,
she gets this final message, this really hurtful one, and it's about her parents, which is really kind of hurts a bit more, because and that's kind of what I like about this, is that we saw her dad earlier on. We got the flashback as well, but we saw her dad speak to her, and he's sort of a very nice old man, and he's kind of, he's talking about it, and obviously some of the tweets before were about her being mixed race and seeing these awful things, and the final tweet at the end was specifically about her parents. And it hit just that little bit harder even for us, because we actually kind of got to know him, and it was in a very realistic way where she was kind of annoyed at him, so it felt like a real parent. It didn't just feel like the perfect TV parent. It was like, he did something, he said something a little bit stupid, and she was kind of mad at him for it, but it was, old dad trying to be dad, but, failing, a parent, basically. Yeah. And seeing Sam just break down, I think because she's so strong normally, and she's so putting on the brave face, and she's so empowered to fight back. Seeing something affect her where she just breaks down, really hit. It's kind of like how it was very, very funny last season, and then we got to episode 5, and it was like, oh my god, I can barely make it through this episode. It's gut wrenching. Yeah. This is kind of on that wavelength. Not as extreme, but just seeing her break down, it was just kind of like, no, okay, right, I'm hurt now. You hurt my Sam. Okay, we need to do something about this now. I'm not happy. To put it into the simplest terms as possible.
It's very simple, but yeah.
But no, but it affects you because she is usually so strong-willed, and seeing her break down, you're like, oh man, if this is breaking her down, if this is affecting her this much, lines are going up, and I think in the idea as well that the season might be bringing awareness to the effect that cyberbullying and things like this can have, because I think we've all seen it. We've all seen some actor or some creator tweet something online and get hate back because of who they are, because of what they're involved in, and it's like, okay, right now I've seen examples of this in real life. This is it's playing true to things I've witnessed.
Yeah, some of them are really have you seen the ones for that Stephen Amell gets?
I have not. No.
So these are the
Stephen
people...
Amell, for the record, is the actor who plays the Green Arrow on Arrow.
Yeah. So I was going to get that because the people who ship him and Felicity, they actually go out and they want to they tell him to leave his wife and get with her, because he has a wife and a kid, and they are really vicious. I mean, she should kill your wife and get with her and stuff. It's like, Jesus Christ, these people are extreme.
Yeah, obviously that's a very different type of that. This is this is hate speech. That to me feels like, it's still cyberbullying, it's still extreme online stuff. That to me feels more like very specific. I don't know, not delusion, but
it is delusion.
Yeah,
it absolutely is. But
I think it's more extreme than delusion. I feel like
that's too soft. Yeah. I'm just saying, that's how it's as some cyberbullying, which actors get it a lot.
Yeah.
That's some of the worst.
I remember Leslie Jones when Ghostbusters came out. She was getting absolute shit on Twitter.
Yeah.
And we even heard that she was in tears about it at some point, and that really hurts, because I think oftentimes you assume, they're famous people, they're used to getting crap all the time. It's just They don't notice it, they don't pay attention to it. So hearing it actually affects them is kind of a big thing, and I feel like this with Sam, it's like, okay, we're going to actually get a proper window into that kind of thing. And I assume all of these actors, I assume the creator, all got shit.
Almost certainly.
And probably still do, and probably still are.
I still recall the amount of shit that was given just at the initial trailer announcement.
Oh yeah. In fact, I believe... in terms of a ratio, our episode 1 of season 1 review is downvoted so much just because we are talking about Dear White People, just because of that. And there would be comments about, this is propaganda, don't talk about this, blah blah blah. There would be statements like that, and it's just like, what's wrong with you people? I don't get it. I really don't. No. Hate is a thing. Hate is an awful thing where I feel like I didn't notice it as a kid, because you're kind of ignorant as a kid, and everything. You're protected. Everyone around you keeps you from seeing the awful part of the world and humanity, and you grow a bit older, you start to notice things, and to borrow a word for Sam, you get a little bit more woke as you grow older. At least some of us do. Some of us get really ignorant and go down, oh, these SJWs are ruining everything path.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So hey, but yeah, so heartbreaking ending. But to swing back around to the documentary thing, because we do see Gabe. He's had a haircut.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh man, he's had a haircut. Because there's a little jokey introduction scene where you think you're seeing him and Sam having sex, and they're like, oh, I missed you, and it was too perfect in slow motion. I was like, okay, I'm calling bullshit in this. This isn't real.
Yeah, I was like, this is weird.
And it pays off wonderfully because Joy Elbock's in it. It turns out Sam and Joe are roommates now because of everyone doubling up. Yeah. And she walks in and Sam's masturbating with a vibrator. And then she I've never heard this term before, pre-baiting. That's a new one for me. As she puts it, you're going to be in the room with some troublesome dick, so you're pre-baiting. And sure enough, she goes to documentary class, and Gabe's the teacher's assistant, and he's there. But it becomes this little bit of a verbal debate with another girl in class, because she says something, she's talking about documentaries, and she basically implies that all documentaries have at least some amount of bias or some amount of propaganda element to them.
Yeah,
some more than others, of course.
Which directly, I think, is addressing the same things as we were just talking about our comment section last year. This is propaganda, and I think this is them saying, I mean, sure, in as much as anything is.
Yeah, as much as, yes, we have a message we want to tell you, but I think there's a difference between art with a message and then something that is outright propaganda. I think you go back to Nazi Germany, you look at anything they printed for that duration of time, it's propaganda. I don't think that's the same thing as a heartfelt...
Let's be fair. Both sides did propaganda in the war.
Like, sure. I'm picking the extreme one. Right?
I think for the purposes of this debate here that they're having, it's important to say no. Everyone has propaganda. That's kind of accepted. It's knowing that it's propaganda or knowing that it has a purpose. Because that's what propaganda is.
I think for me, and maybe the dictionary definition of propaganda disagrees with me on this, but to me, I would say that propaganda, by its nature, is... I don't want to say less up front, because I think obviously during wartime it's a bit more obvious that a lot of propaganda is propaganda. But I wouldn't call... If I call something propaganda, I typically mean it as an insult, because they've not... all it is the message, and they're trying to be preachy about something.
Yeah, that's fair.
For me, propaganda is a critique because it is almost too upfront. It's one of the extremes. It's either hiding it, the fact that it's propaganda, or it's too upfront and extreme about it, and therefore it's like, no, this is just propaganda. There's no actual art or story or entertainment or whatever it is. No,
that's fair. But I say that because I think the point of this scene here is the debate where ultimately it comes down to, every documentary is propaganda to some degree.
Yeah, right? Everything has a point. There's nothing truly neutral, and I think. The only, going to fictional movies, the only movies that are truly neutral are probably the ones that aren't very good.
Yeah.
Because they're not saying anything.
Right. And that's the point. That's okay to have a bias and, this is the story you want to tell.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And it's a lesson that Sam clearly needs to learn, because she's like, no, there isn't. Like, you can have a neutral discussion. And the lecturer was like, hey, well, here's a challenge for next class, Sam. Why don't you bring us a documentary you think is truly neutral?
Yeah.
And she doesn't.
Which reminds me, I think I hated more than the fake Twitter.
Oh, God.
Is her Googling, documentaries that are propaganda, and it's saying no search results.
Okay,
I get it, but I hate seeing that.
So here's the thing. I accept it in this because it's kind of a joke, because she can't find one. It bothered me way more. I'm going to bring up the Bye Bye Man, and I know this is people don't want to hear me talk about the Bye Bye Man. Or maybe they do.
Not again.
Maybe they hate me being miserable and talking about the Bye Bye Man. But in the Bye Bye Man, the movie, a character Googles the Bye Bye Man, and there are 0 results. And the entire internet, the words Bye Bye Man don't get a result. Common words. Yeah. Very common words, right? Here, at least, it's kind of played as a joke because it's funny because she's trying to just sort of wing it and find something in class while she's talking. She's stalling.
Yeah, I get it. It's the joke, but it still annoys me. I just don't like seeing it.
Maybe what would have been funnier is if it came up with something that obviously wasn't.
Or a did you mean?
Oh yeah, did you mean that might have been funny, yeah. Or something, I don't know, like what if it just came up with like I don't know, Star Wars or something, I don't know. Like just something that clearly wasn't because there was no real results.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been funnier.
I think that would have been funnier. And I mean, I get the joke of this, but I don't find it as funny when I go, ugh, don't do that. I see what you're doing,
yeah.
but it takes me out of the moment.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. And she kind of continues the debate after class. She kind of concedes in class. As she puts it, she doesn't want to fight with the one other black girl in class for everyone else's entertainment. She kind of try and takes it outside.
Which I think is maybe a little unhealthy. Because, obviously we established that Sam is flawed as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think the fact that she's kind of not willing to have the debate is a bit unhealthy. Because she kind of comes up to her after and goes, hey, but this is that. And the other girl's like, okay, but why can't we have had that during a debate?
The other girl's response is perfectly valid.
Right, she's like, hey, we were having an actual debate. That's when we were supposed to be doing this.
Honestly,
why don't you say this then?
Part of Sam's story this season might be sort of realising her own flaws and weaknesses, because it also kind of feels that she's only arguing with this girl because she was talking to Gabe. It's a jealousy. It feels like a jealousy thing. And I think her acknowledging her own faults are a big thing. But again, we talked about this a lot last season, is that they do a really great job in this show of having characters with, positives and negatives, flaws, and, and she feels like a real person. And I think that's what makes her breakdown at the end feel all the more true. We see her faults, we all have a lot of faults. But
Sam's not a perfect character.
I'd still like to think that when I break down over something, it'll be taken seriously, because it should be taken seriously. Because I am a rock, and almost nothing breaks me down.
I think it depends what breaks you down, frankly. I mean, if you tell me you're out of food, I'm just going to laugh.
I'm not going to break down because I'm out of food.
Oh, I don't know. Just saying, it's a possibility.
You eat way more than I do. Why are you making this joke?
I don't know. It's just because it's the first thing that came to mind that could be funny.
You literally criticised me for not eating an entire can of Pringles in one sitting.
I literally have an empty litre tub of ice cream next to me that I ate during the watching session of these shows. For this recording.
You can't say shit. In fact, honestly, eating a litre tub of ice cream, I feel like at this point you can't say shit to Sam about the bowl of sugar either, quite frankly.
Hey, this is not just sugar. This has got it's got actual strawberries in it.
Strawberries also have sugar in them, though, to be fair.
They do, but look, I'm just saying, that there's actual strawberry. There's better than just sugar.
I'll tell you what, though, dairy's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Dairy with a bit of sugar is
Yeah, it's not bad, yeah. I'm thinking, but it's not bad.
Anyway, I'm just fantasising now about a nice big milkshake that I can just devour. We should briefly mention, of course, that Gabe made a documentary starring Reggie.
Yeah.
We don't get to see it and see what it is. We get the sort of the first little chunk of it. We get to see Gabe talking about where he's basically talking about institutionalized racism, and he's trying to acknowledge am I contributing to this in some way? It's kind of a self-reflective piece.
Pretty much his whole arc last season.
Yeah, and it cuts to he's interviewed Reggie, who throughout the episode as well, Sam's kind of worried that Reggie's mad at her, and he's kind of not really. He's kind of just dodging their questions, to be honest, more than anything else.
He's playing it very cold with them.
Yeah. But it's interesting because obviously last season, he was mad at Gabe because Gabe's the one who called the cops at the party. So
yeah,
interesting to see how they're at that point, and it'll be interesting growth of their now kind of on a friendly basis where they're doing things together like this.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting idea. And then I also point out to the scene where they're trash watching this other random show.
Yeah, it's not the same one as last
season.
It's
not the same one, and it's I can't remember her name, but from Aziz Ansari's show.
Yeah, I know you're on about.
What's the name of the show though? I can't remember the name of the show either.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh my god. Anyway, it's her. She was in Ready Player One as well.
Yeah.
But it's her, and she's doing this really, and they're all feeling really conflicted because all the white people are laughing really hard at everything. They're like, well, I don't know, this feels like they're all invading our thing now.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but so that was an amusing scene. The contemplation over it was good.
Yeah, I think the funniest moment for me of the episode though was definitely when Sam's like, "Hey, let's go for a run." She's like, "Hey, no, we're not like them on TV. No one can run and talk at the same time. You trying to shut me up?" And then it just cuts to them running and going, "Ah, screw this. This is way too hard."
Yeah, it's hot as shit. And then Loki, and this is almost a running joke at this point that I don't know the character with the dog, so she's Dog Lady, but she's low key one of the funniest like little side characters who just like pops in for a joke here or there.
Yeah.
Because she just pops in like, "You're going to run, I'll go to your thighs, you come right now, suit yourself then." And then of course Reggie walks past, and then Lena walks past. There's almost like a roll call of characters walking past at various points.
It is. It's like, hey, here's everyone that you remember.
Yeah. Troy shows up later. He gets back out of university jail, as they refer to it as.
Yeah.
But he's back, and he seems invigorated. He seems like he's finally broke free of what his father has in mind for him. So he's feeling like he's alive. So. No, and that was very much his arc, of course, last season. So
it was. Yeah.
Curious to see where that goes. Curious to see who, because obviously last season each episode focused on a different character, so I'm expecting that this season again. My guess would be Reggie next season, next episode. I mean, not season.
Yeah. That makes sense. That said, I can see him maybe holding that a little bit to preserve the mystery.
Oh sure, yeah, okay, I can see that too.
Yeah, I'll be interested either way though.
Yeah. But no, I thought it was back on form. I thought, like last season, it was making me laugh. It was making great points, and then it actually hit me with that gut wrenching final scene. Yeah. They pack a lot into 30 minutes with this show. But
they do. So fun related story.
Oh, God.
If you've been following any of our other, Netflix reviews, especially the season 2 reviews lately, you'll know that I have been a habit of not being given the previously on recaps that Netflix do. Their own for some reason I got it on this one.
As did
of all the shows. I mean, this is the one I probably needed it on least. I'll be honest, because it's like the moments were quite big that I needed to remember. And I was like, really, this is the show, Netflix. This is the one you're going to give it me on, not the one that was dense with a million characters with all these things in it. Yeah, it was fun though.
There you go. What do you want? But that's Dear White People, episode 1. We'll be back. Not unlike last year, in which we had to come back to it later. Although, funnily enough, we're actually really busy right now, but we've planned for it, so we're continuing with it. You can expect it won't be going super fast because we're actually juggling 3 Netflix shows right now. But you can basically expect 2 next week, 2 the following week, and then it should maybe go up to about 3 a week till we're done the week after that.
Given that last year was 1 a week, and those were all 3 or 4 months after it aired.
Yeah, we had to come back to it in June. It launched in this end of April, and we came back to it in mid-June to do episode 2 onwards. So you get episode 2 early next week. So we're going to do it a bit quicker this year. Not as quick as we'd like to, but because we're juggling this, we're juggling 3% and The Rain. So
maybe next year.
Maybe next year we'll fly through it. There is, I mean, we'll see. If the rain gets really bad, if we end up dropping that, then it'll go quicker. But I mean, right now that's the plan. Yeah. So we'll see you next week for episode 2. There is an audio feed for these shows. All of our Netflix reviews go into the Netflix audio feed that we have. There's a link to that in the description. If you want to see all the other audio feeds and all the other video playlists and stuff, the top post on our Patreon page, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. There's a link to that in the description as well. There's a nice neat list of everything you can find there, and of course everything's on the YouTube page as well, all neatly kind of laid out. But if you're looking for the audio feeds or anything else, go check that out. If you want to support us, you can head over there and check that out as well. Obviously we appreciate anything there, but also like, subscribe, all the usual stuff that you can do to support. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the episode, and otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. We'll see you next time.